Hello, and welcome to this Microsoft Excel One-on-One Master Class, Beginner to Advanced. In this course, I'm going to teach you how to use Microsoft Excel from beginner to the advanced level. First thing you need to know about Microsoft Excel is that it's the world's most popular spreadsheet program, which means it is one of the most used computer programs used to CA tabulate and calculate financial data, either personally or for your business. Once you open your Microsoft Excel application, you can go to a blank workbook and click Open Blank Workbook. The first time you open your Microsoft Excel application, you're going to be presented with the following. You're going to be presented with rows going from left to right, and you're going to be presented with columns going from top to bottom. At the bottom, you're going to see tabs called Workbooks. At the bottom, you're going to see tabs called Worksheets. And on each worksheets, a worksheet is contained within this whole workbook. So this particular document that I've opened is called a workbook, and in the workbook, it contains several worksheets. I can create several worksheets by clicking on the plus icon, and I can also double-click on the name to rename the particular worksheet. Think of the workbook as a file, and the worksheet as a document within it. Now, if you go to the top part, you're going to get tabs which are called File. When you click on it, it's going to contain something called the Backstage View. In this section, when you click on New, that's where you're going to create a new workbook. When you open, you're going to open a workbook which had been created earlier, and when you click on Save, that's when you're going to save any particular workbook or worksheet that you have created. Or you can click on Save as to change the file extension of that particular workbook or worksheet. Once you're done with your document, you can click on Print, then you can create a physical copy of that particular workbook or worksheet. You can decide to share the document by clicking on Share. You can share through email, or you can share through the cloud. You can decide to export this particular workbook in terms of a PDF or XPS type of document, or change the file extension type, because the default one for Microsoft Excel is .xls. You can choose to publish, which is a much more advanced feature for people who work in companies. You can choose to publish to Power BI. You can choose to close the document. Here, you can choose to add your account details about your Microsoft application, whether it's activated or not. This is where you're going to see the account status of your particular application. You can choose to give feedback to Microsoft, and this is where you can choose. When you click Options, this is the place where you can decide to change the default options that open with each workbook that you open. You can change items from the General tab, Formulas, Proofing, Save, Language, Ease of Access, Advanced. You can also customize the ribbon, and the ribbon is the top part over here. You can Quick Access Toolbar. This is whereby you can choose to add items on top of here. This is called a Quick Quick Access Toolbar. And this is called a Trust Center. This is whereby you're going to give, you're going to help your documents. You can help Microsoft Excel trust particular documents that you open with, this particular application, whether they've been downloaded online, and you can tell Microsoft Excel that they're safe and secure. You do not need to worry about all of these features. We're going to go through them one by one as we go through this course. Just for the time being right now, I'm just going to give you the gist of the outlook of how the application looks and how you can start to get yourself familiar with the application. Once, on the Home tab on the ribbon, you can click on the Home tab. This way, you're going to have the formatting options, the font options, the alignment options, the number options, styles, cells, editing. When you click on the Insert tab on the ribbon, this is whereby you can insert pivot tables, recommended pivot tables. You can insert pictures. You can insert online pictures. You can get add-ons. You can get charts. You can map tours. You can use things called sparklines, filters, links, text, symbols. When you click on Page Layout, this is whereby you're going to decide how the layout of your workbook looks. In this section, you can also decide on the theme, page setup, alignment, scale to fit, sheet options, and the arrange type, whether to bring something, bring it forward, send it back, and this usually applies to images. In the Formulas tab, this is whereby you can get all the formulas that you're going to use with your Microsoft Excel application. In the Data tab, this is whereby you can get external data, get and transform, connections, sort and filter, data tools, forecast. In the Review section, it just does that, it reviews. This is whereby you can check your spelling. You can also use Thesaurus, check accessibility settings for people who have disability like reading impairment, smart lookup insights, translation, new comments. Whenever you're sharing your documents between your colleagues, you might add comments on that particular workbook or worksheet that they have been working on. This is whereby you're going to come and insert your comments so that you can work and communicate better when sharing workbooks between workmates. In the View tab, this is whereby you can put a page break, page layout, custom views. You can zoom the document. You can choose to put open several workbooks at a go, and you can also choose something called freeze panes, which we're going to cover later in this course as we are going through. And if you are confused by anything, you can click on Help here. But if you go through this course, I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know about Excel. So do not be overwhelmed by everything that I've just talked about. I've just given you the outline so that you can know how to navigate. So whenever I talk about Quick Access Toolbar, I mean on the top part. When I talk about the ribbon, this is called the ribbon. And when I talk about the tabs, these are the particular tabs of the ribbon. Okay. And this is the rows, and these are the columns. This is the whole document is called a workbook, and this is called a worksheet. You can create several worksheets. That is the basics of knowing how to open a Microsoft Excel document. See you in the next lesson, and I hope that you gain a lot from this course.